What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Inside Zone. Listen, I want to make a quick video. I saw this article come across yesterday, and it's just kind of a ice, what do you call it, cherry on top of the cake at the end of the day for the bad news that just keeps on coming for the Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons Kirk Cousins deal is ranked among the worst professional sports contracts in the history of sports. It says for the decade. I say the history of sports. If you're under a rock, you don't remember what happened. The Falcons were coming off a terrible season. They fired their coach. They get rid of their quarterback, Desmond Ridder, and they needed a quarterback to kind of lead the Falcons into the future. The Atlanta Falcons targeted Kirk Cousins, right? The GOAT of contracts, the GOAT of quarterback contracts. And they got Kirk Cousins in the door with one Achilles tendon. No problem. 50 million guaranteed, 60 million guaranteed, or whatever, something like that, or whatever. Get him in the door. No, the Falcons paid Kirk Cousins $180 million, $100 million guaranteed, right? So no matter what Kirk does this year, next year, or the following years, the Falcons owe this man $100 million guaranteed in his pocket. Kirk Cousins plays good for the first couple of weeks, plays decent first couple of weeks, even has a 500-yard passing game. Kirk Cousins drops off tremendously. I think at one point he had like 0 touchdowns and multiple picks, 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Something crazy, right? The Falcons go on a massive losing streak. Eventually they miss the playoffs. They end up starting Michael Pennix Jr. towards the end of the season because it was over and they were getting pressure from the fan base and the national media about playing the kid. The kid looks great. The kid has an active arm. The kid can actually scramble. He has 2 working Achilles tendons. Oh, my God. Why did the Falcons give Kirk Cousins $100 million is what the media is asking, right? The same media that said, hey, look, you can never have too many good quarterbacks on your roster. You can never have too many quarterbacks on your roster. Yeah, the truth is, all that capital that the Falcons spent on quarterback, they neglected to build the rest of the team, right? No depth on the defensive line. No depth on the offensive line either. No pass rush at all. No depth at defensive back. No depth at linebacker. The Falcons ran out of gas at the end of the season and missed the playoffs. A lot of good pieces in the specialty player route as far as like running back and wide receiver, tight end, all these players for highlights, but no one to get them the ball, right? So fast forward, as far as the contract goes, what happens now? Kirk Cousins, who I call the GOAT of contracts, quarterback contracts, he's probably going to get another massive deal from some other team. Think Russell Wilson, only thing somebody's going to pay him instead of Russell Wilson getting paid to leave Denver. He has guaranteed money from the Falcons. He'll probably get a contract from either Oakland or Cleveland, which is going to be like 50 to 100 million guaranteed once again to help those franchises just have a competent quarterback play. And so Kirk Cousins, like touching 40, is gonna still be getting $100 million contracts out the door. His wife, his kids, God bless them. They married well. The Falcons now with Michael Pennix Jr. are strapped with this Kirk Cousins contract. The dead cap space, the dead cap money and all that stuff. Not going to go get in the weeds with the numbers, but if the Falcons are able to trade Kirk Cousins, it helps them. If the Falcons just cut loose and cut bait, that's the worst case scenario because the dead cap really hinders us as far as cap space heading into the 2025 offseason. So I say this, Terry Fontenot, the Falcons leadership, upper management, McKay, all those guys behind the scenes that are pulling the strings, making the call, even Raheem Morris as a first-year coach, he's on the hot seat. Terry Fontenot on the hot seat. People like Rich McKay, they're protected because they're entrenched in the Arthur Blank ecosystem of Falcons, of the Blank Foundation / Falcons ownership. But Terry Fontenot, Raheem Morris, the staff, they're on the hot seat, man. And it's all because of questionable moves that they made building this Falcons team. Terry Fontenot was here prior with the Arthur Smith regime, and now he's moving into the Raheem Morris regime. what we need to see from a fan base is the Falcons making competent, logical moves in the draft or in free agency. Period. Right? Just logical moves. As a Falcons fan, it's always been a wonder to me, right? During the Kirby Smart era, Georgia has consistently had one of the top defenses in college football year in and year out. Ironically, even though the Falcons are able to go and visit with them and work the players out at will, being 45 minutes away from Flowery Branch, they don't do it. And they don't draft a Jalen Carter or a Nolan Smith or a Jordan Davis or anybody from the Falcons that are from the Bulldogs that make a difference, right? A Nakobe Dean, somebody that's proven in the college level that's coming in and going to be able to transition perfectly into the NFL. But no, we'll stretch for a player like some random player from Southern Mississippi Episcopal University because he's 6'1" and ran a 4.4. But he's never tackled an SEC player, right? He's never played an played against NFL competition. And then we're like, oh my God, where did that guy go? Oh, he's out of the league after 6 games. So I hope that Terry, and I hope that the leadership for the Atlanta Falcons looks at this as a make or break year. If Raheem Morris has a bad year this year as a coach, I think he's gone. If Terry Fontenot has, equally a bad year as a GM and coach and the Falcons don't win, I think he's gone. And look, it's that Arthur Blank deserves all the heat he's getting. He's in his 80s. One thing that nobody talks about is Arthur Blank and Jerry Jones are about the same age, right? So he doesn't have too many more chances to rebuild and start over. I know he's kind of building the infrastructure around the Blank Foundation to continue to go with him or without him, but something has to change, man. The Falcons can't continue to operate the way they've operated of just being mediocre. And so let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, share. Violent outbursts are welcome as well. Love to hear your feedback, and on to the next one.